Hi, I'm Allison Howard. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's yoga video is going to be an inner thigh stretch. So we're going to do a lot of poses that work on the inner thighs and they feel nice and stretchy. Hopefully you will enjoy. The only props you might need are a couple of blocks if you have them. If you don't have them, a really nice heavy book can work in place of the blocks. But I like these cork blocks. If you're interested in cork blocks, there's a link down below in the description of this video for the ones that I use. Other than the blocks, all you really need is your mat and yourself. So let's get started. All right, we will begin seated on our mat. You can actually begin in a parighasana pose. Bring the soles of your feet in together. Bring the thumbs to the bottoms of the feet and open the feet out sort of like a book. This is the beginning of your day, or if you haven't moved much yet today, your knees may be really high up. Your knees may naturally fall a lot lower, so there's no shame in the game, right? So wherever they are is fine. Trust me, I mean it, they're fine. Take an inhale, lift your chest, and exhale, fold forward any amount. Focus on the texture of the breath, where you feel that sensation most profoundly. In the tip of the nose, the throat, the belly. Take an inhale, press yourself up. We're going to swing our knees around to a tabletop for just a moment. And then we're going to take our feet and step them to the outsides of our hands. And we're going to sink our hips down. Here's where a block is sometimes nice. If this pose doesn't feel super comfortable for you, you can take a block and set it underneath the hips. And then you're going to bring your palms together at heart center. You're going to sink weight back into the heels. Press the outsides of your triceps into the inner thighs and the inner thighs back into your arms. Shine the palms in toward one another and lengthen up through the crown of the head. Broaden through the collarbones. Find engagement and toning as well as stretch in the inner thighs. Take a long inhale. And exhale, hands come down, knees come back. Tabletop pose. Swish the hips left and right. Nice. We'll take a few cat-cows in this tabletop. So your wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Drop the belly, lift the gaze, broaden the collarbones. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, drop belly, lift gaze. Exhale, round. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, round. Inhale to a neutral tabletop. And from here, you're going to take your right leg out like a kickstand. Yeah? And then walk your hands back toward your knee and walk yourself up to sort of halfway standing. Yeah? So you have this long, extended right leg. And you're going to take your right arm and slide it down the right leg and reach your left arm up and overhead for gate pose. You can gaze up or down. Inhale, come back up. And walk the hands down. Find your tabletop once again. Both knees underneath the hips. Swish the hips left and right. Bring your left leg out and walk yourself up. So we have a kickstand and some length. Your left hand is going to slide down the left leg, and your right arm is going to reach up and overhead. Gaze up or down. Inhale, come up. And exhale, hands come down to the mat. Find your tabletop. Walk your hands about a handprint in front of their current position. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Maybe pedal out the knees. Take an inhale. Lift your right heel to the sky. Bend your right knee and open the hip. Gaze underneath the right armpit. Inhale, straighten into the right leg, and exhale, right foot comes down. Pedal out the knees. Take an inhale, lift your left heel. Exhale, bend your left knee, open your left hip. Gaze underneath the left armpit. Breathe. And exhale, straighten the left leg. Left foot comes down to the mat. Walk it out. Beautiful. Inhale, lift your right heel again. Exhale, plant the right foot outside the right hand. And then lower your left knee down to the mat. You might like to stay just like this. You might like to open onto the knife edge of your right foot. You might like to come up onto a block or lower down onto your forearms. You decide what feels nice for you today. And open into this sensation. There's this fabulous quote from Pema Chodron. The off-center, in-between state is an ideal situation, a situation in which we don't get caught and we can open our minds, our hearts and minds beyond limit. As we hold these off-center poses, single-sided poses, feel into sensation that rises in the body and the mind. Tuck your left toes under. Your right sole of the foot comes back to the mat. Lift your left knee off of the mat. Press back, down dog. From downward facing dog, inhale, lift your left heel. Exhale, plant the left foot outside of the left hand. Lower your right knee down to the mat. Find your position today. Any amount of height or lowering is truly fine. The body is where it is today. The heart and mind are where they are today. And wanting them to be somewhere different won't actually change where they are. It will just make us caught. It will make us closed to what reality has to offer us today. Tuck your right toes under. Lift your right knee off of the mat. Left foot comes back, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take an inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend the knees, and arrive in your way at the top of your mat, stepping or hopping. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold in. Take an inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, hands to shins. Exhale, hands come back down to the mat. Step the feet back to plank pose. You can lower the knees or you can keep them lifted. Shift forward, bend the elbows. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, roll over the toes. Downward facing dog. Take an inhale, lift your right heel. Exhale, plant the foot in between the hands, ground down the back foot at 90 degrees and open up, warrior 2. Inhale here. Exhale, flip the front palm, and then slide your left hand down your left thigh, right arm stretches overhead. Reverse warrior. Inhale, come back up. Warrior 2. Exhale, right forearm, right thigh. Left arm sweeps under and overhead, extended side angle. Inhale, come back up. Warrior 2. Straighten into the right thigh. Turn all 10 toes to the long edge of your mat, maybe angling the toes in slightly. Take an inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. And exhale, hinge forward, bring your hands down to the mat. You can bring a block underneath. And then soften down. Prasarita Padottanasana. Sitting bones shine up towards the ceiling. Lifting. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk the hands over and toward your right foot. Come up onto the heel of your left foot, lifting the left toes up toward the sky. My right heel is still lifted. Yours may be flat on the mat or it may be lifted quite a lot. You might like to bring a block or a blanket underneath the right side if that's the case. Skandasana, surfer's lunge. You can lift the left arm up and overhead. And exhale, lower the left hand, come back through center, and walk your hands over toward the left, coming up onto the right heel. Inhale, lift your right fingertips up to the sky. And exhale, right hand down, up through center. Beautiful. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Exhale, turn and step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down to the mat, step it back, and either go through your chaturanga vinyasa flow or press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left heel. Exhale, plant the foot in between the hands, ground on the back heel. Warrior 2. Tailbone lengthens down. Breathe here. Exhale, flip the left palm, reverse your warrior. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, left forearm, left thigh, right arm sweeps under and overhead, extended side angle. Utthita Parshvanasana. Inhale, come back up, warrior two. Exhale, straighten into the left thigh. Turn all 10 toes toward the long edge of the mat. Inhale, reach your arms up. And exhale, hinge forward. Hands come down to a block or to the mat or the floor. And find their forward fold. Prasarita Padottanasana. Here, come halfway lift first, right? Halfway lift. And exhale, walk your fingers over toward your right foot. Lift your left toes and sink your hips down toward the right side. Your right heel may be lifted or not. Right hand comes down to the floor or the mat. Lift your left arm up overhead. Inhale, come up to center. And exhale, walk your hands over toward your left. Lift your right toes. Inhale, right arm up overhead. Exhale, hand comes down. Inhale, walk through center. Come all the way up to stand. And exhale, step both feet up to the top of the mat. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant the hands on the mat, step it back and flow. Vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take an inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend into your knees. Look to the top of the mat. You're going to step your right foot outside of the right hand, left foot outside of the left hand. Sink your hips down. And we found ourselves back in malasana. You can put a block underneath the hips if you like. Shine the crown of the head up toward the ceiling. Broaden the collarbones. Lengthen, open. And when you're ready, allow your hips to just hit the mat. You can press your hips back so you find the midpoint on your mat and roll all the way down to the ground. Tent your knees up to the sky. Fingertips can just graze the backs of the heels. From here, take an inhale, lift your hips up. Walk your shoulder blades underneath the back. Interlace the hands behind the back. Lift the hips. Breathe. And exhale. Lower it down, windshield wiper knees left and right. We'll take one more back bend. If you want, you can grab one of those lovely cork blocks and bring it underneath the hips on whatever setting feels nice in your body. It can be high or low. If you'd like to take a regular active bridge, you're welcome to do that. You're welcome to press into wheel if that is in your practice. Your choice. Feel the lengthening of the hip flexors at the front of the body. And releasing into the block. If you're propped up onto a block, take an inhale, lift your hips. remove the block, lower the hips down. Inhale, roll yourself up to a seat. So nice. Extend your legs long out in front of you. And open the feet out wide, wide as they go. Now, again, this is what it is, right? So there's no judgment on how wide your legs are or where they are or what's happening here. It just is. So let it be. Let it be what it is. Take an inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. And exhale, hinge forward. Your hands can come down to the ground. You may be up here. You may be here, right? Wherever feels nice. So you can work into your edge, that point where you feel just enough tension to engage the body and the mind, but not so much that it pulls you away, that you start to feel a lot of chatter in the mind, like this is not safe, what am I doing here, turn off the video. Just let it be. So you find your edge and then you soften in to that edge. Walk your hands back toward your hips. Bring your feet in together. Parighasana again. Take an inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, back of the heart space guides you back up. Find a comfortable seated position or find your back onto the mat for final shavasana. Wherever you end up, find a point of stillness inside the mind and the body. Lengthen up through the crown of the head if you're seated. Take a long inhale. And an even longer exhale. I want to thank you all so much for practicing with me. It's a joy. Thank you.